Hey everybody, today we are going to chat a little bit about raindrop technique. It is one of my favorites. Favorite. Okay? So, what is raindrop technique? That's the biggest question here on the table. So, raindrop technique is about an hour-long session. It's done on a massage table. And the experience is like combining reflexology, effleurage, or it's a very light touch application process, and aromatherapy. So those three things combined are what you'll experience during the technique. Okay, so when I do raindrop technique, I apply a minimum of 8 oils to both to the bottoms of your feet and then also up your spine. Okay, now raindrop technique is amazing. Okay, so good. So all the nerves wrap into the spinal column, right? And for those of you who are familiar with the concept of reflexology, what I'm actually doing is called VitaFlex. So a little different than reflexology. Same concept though. You can touch in on all of the organs and systems of the body through the feet. You can do it through the hands. You can do it in the eyes. You can do everything's connected in a lot of different areas. So through those two concepts, we're supporting all the organs and all the systems of the body, right? So whether we're talking about immune support, which this video is being done in the month of January. So for most of us, immune support is really high on our list. So immune support, lymphatic support, our endocrine system, which is our hormones, all sorts of hormones, whether we think of like the estrogen, testosterone type hormones, or we think about metabolism hormones, those are all tied in with the endocrine system. The skeletal system, okay? For those of you who see a chiropractor, they are going to love what a raindrop session will do for your spine, okay? Most of my clients gain at a minimum 1/4 of an inch of their structure back, okay? So we have compression and different things that happen over time where our vertebrae comes out of alignment and yada, yada, yada. Talk to your chiropractor. That's way out of my field. What I know is that after a raindrop session, many of my clients gain between 1/4 and 1/2 an inch of their structure back. And I've had some clients, my chiropractor was over an inch taller after his first session. Okay. So if you are a runner, I got lots of running friends. Okay. Runners, if you sit a lot, if you name it, this is going to be great for your spinal column and supporting it and making sure it stays pliable and healthy. And I guarantee you, your chiropractor will love what it does for you. Let's see. Oh, digestive system. Okay. The digestive system is really strongly supported by raindrop technique. You can, how do I keep this compliant? So sometimes with the digestive system, some things can move too fast, they can move too slow, and really healthy is right in the middle. And that's what our goal is. And so raindrop technique helps to offer support and promote balance in the body so that it can be right in the middle. Let's see here. We talked about the immune system. We talked about the skeletal system. We talked about hormones. Oh, so raindrop technique is huge on emotional balance, right? So sometimes when we say hormones, people think of emotions as well. They're kind of the same, and yet they're kind of different. Okay. So most people, how many of you guys are running around like, oh my gosh, I got all this stuff to do and not enough time in the day and blah, 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 like all this compulsive behavior. So when we operate that way, we are operating from our sympathetic nervous system. We're continually in a state of fight or flight. Okay, your body does not heal itself when you're in a state of fight or flight. Okay? Just doesn't work that way. So if that's how we live our life, gotta have to compulsive, if that's how we're living, our body doesn't really go into repair mode. It can't regenerate itself. So when we can go into rest or parasympathetic nervous system, all of a sudden we have a whole lot more clarity and focus, and we can see, oh, okay, this is our situation at hand, and this is how I navigate through it. And it's going to be do, 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 do. I can see my steps ordered really clearly. So raindrop technique between the oils themselves and then the application process is very rhythmic and soothing. The ones I've had and the ones I've given, this is the experience. So, I mean, maybe there are other people doing it different ways. Most people come out extremely relaxed, and they report that they have much more clarity and focus, and they feel like they are ready to take on the day. So those of you that play with me on coaching and mentoring and different things like that, remember that's part of the lymphatic system, is moving from I can't, this is hard, into I can do this. This is easy. And so it's going to shift us from that fight or flight mode into, or what some people think of as sympathetic nervous system, into parasympathetic nervous system. And again, parasympathetic is where our digestion functions at its best capacity. Okay. So raindrop technique is great for doing that. Guys, even deep breathing. Deep breathing is great for shifting from sympathetic nervous system into parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. Let's see, what else can I say about raindrop technique? Most people love it. There are, on occasion, I do have some people that say that the oils have a very potent smell. If that's you, I encourage you to go find my video where we talk about stinky oils, because there's a reason. There's something that's happening for you, and if you stay committed and stay with it, you potentially can notice some really big shifts for yourself, especially emotionally speaking. Okay, and so maybe there's some old junk you're holding on to, and this is going to help you unwind it and undo it. All right, so raindrop technique can be used on any age range. Me personally, the youngest I've worked with is 7 years old, and the oldest I've worked with is early 80s, maybe, probably early 80s. So it can really, wherever you are on the health spectrum, this is a great way to support yourself right where you are. So if you are healthy and you are in maintenance mode, once a month is your ideal setup for raindrop. That's just go in, support things, add a little love to them. I am going to keep this compliant because there's a whole bunch of stuff I really could say about it, and yet it would make my video non-compliant. So I'm skipping all that. Okay. So once a month, if you have something very specific that you're working on, let's have a conversation. There may be a reason for you to do it more often. The most often I've done raindrop sessions is I've done one a day for 3 days in a row. We were addressing something very specific, and that's what we did. And she had been doing all these different techniques and modalities and yada yada, and the 3 raindrop sessions in a row helped her actually utilize the other modalities that she was using. It's like it flipped her into healing mode. And we talked a little bit, we did a little bit of emotional work about what was going on and what the emotional root or the physical symptoms were. So we did some of that as well. And according to her, raindrop technique was the thing that helped her flip into the return of her health. I'll say it that way. It gave her the oomph required to do that. So it's really depending on where you're at in the scope of things, that will determine how often you'll have a raindrop session. And for some people, much like you would do with a chiropractor, you may start out, sometimes when you go to a chiropractor, if you're just getting back to one, you may go 3 times a week early on. And then you taper down to twice a week, and then once a week, and then once every 2 weeks, and once a month. Okay. So with Raindrop technique, early on, we may start a little more, it'll be different than a chiropractor, not 3 times a week. But we may start a little more consistently and then kind of ease off and go into a maintenance program. So it's really up to you and what we come up with, what we find is going to fit best for obviously scheduling purposes and health purposes and all of those things. So this is a little bit of info about Raindrop technique. I love it so much. This is about the max that I can say and keep my video compliant. But it really does support all the organs and all the systems, including respiratory. The ones we mentioned before, respiratory is another big one. Supports your skin, supports your detoxing processes. Most clients talk about how their sleep, they notice a big change in their sleep patterns. Yeah, it's good stuff. If you desire to have more information, give me a call or find a practitioner close to you. Or if you desire some help finding a practitioner close to you who does Raindrop, let me know. I know people across the US and even some internationally that do Raindrop technique. So if you desire some help finding them, let me know. I'm your girl. Happy to help. Love you guys. Have an awesome, blessed week. And, I travel up and down the state of Florida on a somewhat regular basis. So if that's you and you're interested in Raindrop technique, let me know, send me a message, and I'll see you soon. Okay. Bye.